So this movie is about this guy named David, a father who lived with his wife and their daughter Kate, who was a high schooler. As a teenager, Kate was still looking for her identity and wanted her space, even though she used to be really close to her dad when she was little. It made David really emotional to think about it. Now they were living their own lives, and even though they saw each other every day, Kate still kept her distance from her dad. That one day, as Kate was walking home from school, she ran into this really cute guy from school, John. He asked her to join a singing audition because he knew she was really talented. Kate got all flustered because she totally had a crush on John, but then David showed up and totally killed the vibe. Kate quickly made a beeline to avoid her dad. That night, the whole family went to see Grandpa, who was sick. Carol, David's wife, wanted to stay and take care of him. So she told David and Kate to go home. Kate didn't want to leave with her father, so she decided to walk home alone. David followed her and tried to talk to her. He told her to focus on her school and not get into any relationships. Kate got annoyed and put on her headphones, which made David so mad that he threw them to the ground and broke them. He said he worked hard every day and wanted Kate to at least respect him. Suddenly, Grandpa showed up and told them about the myth of the ginkgo tree in front of them, that if you wished for something in front of it, your wish would come true. After a huge fight, they finally headed home together. They didn't say a word to each other until they were startled by a car suddenly swerving. David managed to dodge the car just in time, but he didn't see another car speeding towards them. Then, an unavoidable accident occurred. To make a long story short, David woke up in the hospital with a wound on his head. He was really surprised when he heard his deep voice at the reception desk when he talked. It turned out that he and Kate had switched bodies. Kate, in her dad's body, couldn't believe it, and neither could David. Confused and freaked out, they both left the hospital. In the taxi, Kate was telling herself that this had to be a dream. Turns out, David took them to see a psychiatrist, his old buddy Dr. Jean. When David tried to convince Dr. Jean by sharing embarrassing stories from their high school days, the doc just laughed and thought it was all a setup. David then tried to buy a beer to calm his nerves, but the cashier wouldn't sell it to him because he looked like a young girl. He didn't seem to believe a word David said. David and Kate decided not to tell Carol about what happened at home, but Carol got suspicious when she noticed them acting weird. Luckily, her suspicion was just because she thought David had given Kate some money, making her a bit more friendly. When Kate got back to her room, she checked her phone and saw a message from John reminding her about her audition. Before hitting the hay, Kate said a prayer to God, asking for forgiveness for her screw-ups, and wished that when she woke up the next day, she'd be back in her own body. But it didn't turn out to be so simple. After scouring through books and the internet, there was no info about swapping souls. Then they remembered what triggered this whole thing. It hit them that they had a big argument in front of a ginkgo tree, just like the myth Grandpa had told them about. So they gave Grandpa a call. Grandpa said that if they got what they asked for, it would only be good for a week, as long as they didn't argue. After that, he didn't say anything else, so David said they should just carry on with life. Kate was told to go to the office and David to go to school, because if David got fired or Kate got kicked out of school, Carol might leave. The next day, while heading to work and school, they shared advice on what to do and what not to do. Kate asked her dad to be careful with how he talked, so he didn't embarrass her at school. She also told him not to audition for singing. Meanwhile, David told Kate to tone it down at the office. They also swapped phones to make it easier to contact their friends and coworkers. To sum it up, Kate went to her dad's office with a guide on her phone and started searching for her father's desk. She thought her dad was a big deal at the office, but he actually just worked in the beauty products promotion division. She started recognizing some of her father's coworkers, including a guy named Will. During a meeting to put together an article about a product, Will told off Kate for being on her phone instead of paying attention. Fortunately, Kate was able to handle the situation. Since she was a young girl who used a lot of cosmetics, Kate made some changes to the product models chosen by her father. After work, Kate couldn't head home because they had to entertain a client. So, whether she liked it or not, Kate had to go along with them to take the client out for drinks and karaoke. The client got pretty mad because Kate didn't want to drink, and he even threatened not to sign the contract if she didn't sing. Kate did something else to rock the event. She rocked the karaoke and even got a high score. The client, visibly intoxicated, crossed the line by attempting to harass Christine, one of the employees. Fear paralyzed her colleagues, worried that intervening might jeopardize their contracts. But Kate, undeterred, took a bold step. She discreetly recorded the incident, creating undeniable evidence, and her quick thinking put an end to the harassment. While at school, David started to get used to his daughter's school routine. He tried to find some smart students to hang out with, but he forgot that Kate already had a best friend, Jenny, who was a troublemaker. Jenny encouraged Kate to go out with a guy named John. When David heard about John, he got really curious and ended up going to an audition that John was holding, even though Kate had told him not to. Surprisingly, David rocked the audition with his guitar and totally outshined all the other participants, even impressing John. When Kate got back from work, she was super tired. She didn't think she had done much that day, but when she saw her father's face with wrinkles and lines all over his face with his old work bag, it hit her that her father had been working real hard. Kate and David caught up at home and talked about their day. Kate was surprised to hear that David had auditioned, and David was also surprised to see Kate dancing at the karaoke place. They couldn't argue, so they complimented each other instead. One day, David switched from a short skirt to long pants because he didn't like it. Meanwhile, at work, Kate got in trouble with her father's boss, Craig, because of a video she made. He told her off and said she had jeopardized their relationship with the client. Kate explained she was defending Christine from harassment, but Craig said it was just how things are in business. He said she should have handled it differently. He told her to delete the video and say sorry, or else she'd get fired. In school, David was struggling with his studies, so he asked Kate's brainy friend, Anna, to tutor him in exchange for makeup and cash. Anna was hesitant, but when she saw David getting in trouble with the teacher, she eventually agreed to help him out. That night, Anna came over to study, but Jenny's being there bothered David, who was trying to focus on his studies. Jenny also griped about her dad always bugging her, even though she had told him she was busy with the study group. Anna, on the other hand, was ignored by her parents. As a father himself, David understood how they were both feeling. Meanwhile, since Kate had been there for her before, Christine asked Kate to come out to a bar with her. She felt bad because Kate got in trouble with the boss for trying to help her out. Then, Kate was curious about the nail polish Christine was wearing, and that little chat about nail polish ended up bonding them as friends. After hanging out with Christine, Kate came home with a bunch of bags. Carol and David were not happy about it. David said he was trying to make Kate a good student at school and didn't want her spending all his money on herself. To sum it up, the exam began. Even though he worked his butt off studying, David was still struggling with the questions. By the time it ended, he only managed to answer one question and wasn't even confident about that one. Meanwhile, at the office, Will pulled Kate aside to have a private chat. He confessed that he was feeling jealous of how close she and Christine were getting, even though Christine used to hate David and even spit in his morning coffee. Will asked Kate for some help to get closer to Christine, and being a woman, she knew just what to suggest to help him out. Kate asked about the exam this morning when they were at home. David said everything went well. Then they swapped phones, and Kate was excited when she saw that John had asked her out on a date. She begged her dad to go for her, but David wasn't keen on the idea. David was bummed when he found out he made his daughter rank second to last in her class. But he was totally surprised to learn Anna was actually dead last. Turns out she's always been in the bottom spot. Looks can be deceiving, and David realized he shouldn't have jumped to conclusions about her. He and Jenny gave Anna some support. Anna thought, maybe she's just not cut out for school stuff. Due to his bad grades, David got a talking to by the teacher. He owned up to his mistake and said he would work harder. But then the teacher called the parents right away to say that Kate's grades had fallen. At the office, David's team was getting ready for a TV sales promotion. But there was a technical error, so the business team asked either Christine or Will to go on TV. Since both of them were nervous in front of the camera, they asked Kate to take charge. It was a surprise for Carol, especially Craig, who was watching from the office. Kate was forced to go on air, but she did a great job explaining the products since she knew a lot about their products. Everyone, including David's colleagues, was impressed by Kate's performance. Upon knowing David failed his exam, Kate came and acted just like her dad used to when she failed her exams. Almost like she wanted to show David how it felt. David couldn't handle it and left the teacher's office. They both talked and comforted each other. Kate knew how David felt in the office, and David understood what his daughter was going through at school. But even so, Kate still made her dad promise to make up for failing the exam by going on a date with John. In the beginning, David said no, but he ended up having to help Kate go on a date with John. That night, he tagged along with John as they went to a vintage music store that sold old cassettes, while Kate kept an eye on things from outside. Luckily, the date went well because David's love for old music made it seem like he knew a lot about it. On the way back, David was really tired and ended up falling asleep on John's shoulder. It was kind of awkward, so David quickly got up to avoid making the situation even more uncomfortable. When they got off the bus, John wanted to say something, but from a distance, Kate thought John was going to kiss her father, so she hurried to stop it. So that nobody would get confused, she quickly said she was David. Then she gave her approval to John. But it was really for her own benefit. Kate was sad because it was her first date, but her father was the one going through it. David then told her to say goodbye to John from the top floor to make her feel better. Because of that, Kate thanked him, words that he hadn't heard in a long time. The next day, David told Kate that it was his company's big meeting. He had been planning for it for a whole year, and he really hoped she wouldn't screw up anything he had put together. In school, David asked Kate to give him a call when the meeting was about to start so he could tune in. At the office, different teams were showing off their products to the board of directors. When it came to David's team, Kate stepped up. With the notes her father had prepared, she presented the Total Beauty Water product, aiming at teenagers and using leftover materials to save money and make big profits. She was surprised at how pricey it turned out to be. At first, a lot of people weren't sure about this new idea, but the director was all for it. He totally agreed with it, and the beauty water got a really positive response. But then this high school girl, who knew exactly what other girls her age wanted, spoke up. She said she didn't think the product would do well, and that teenagers these days aren't easily fooled. She suggested selling it for cheaper to win over more customers. David was super stressed after hearing Kate on the phone, and it didn't help when the boss said her comments were harsh, despite being true. David ended up giving Kate a talking to in the office because he was worried he and his team might all get fired. But Kate fired back, saying David was too focused on himself to notice how everyone was shutting him out at work. David was getting fed up, so he called Dr. Jean again. This time, he went by himself and tried to persuade Dr. Jean by talking about their history. After a lot of effort, Dr. Jean finally believed him. He asked Dr. Jean to give him advice on how to act, but Dr. Jean just told him to think about what his daughter really wanted. That's what matters most. David finally realized that he hadn't been paying attention to his daughter's concerns. The other day, Kate got a call from Will, so she hurried to the office, but she ended up dropping David's cell phone by accident. When David found it, he thought Kate was mad at him. While David was chilling out playing baseball to relieve stress, he found the voicemail from Will earlier saying that their whole team had been laid off. As soon as he found out, he dashed to the office. Meanwhile, Kate decided to confront the boss. She felt bad because speaking up the day before had backfired. She begged the boss not to disband the team, but the boss told her to deal with the consequences of what she said. Kate didn't give up though. She tried to catch up with the boss, who had already left in his car. At the same time, David showed up and accidentally got hit by the boss's car. David ended up in the hospital. Kate felt awful for causing trouble for her dad and the office team. As she waited for her father to wake up, she checked her father's phone and saw that all his photos were of her. Kate then walked into the room and tried to have a chat with her dad. She told him that she never actually hated him all this time. She was just bummed out with herself for not meeting their expectations, which unknowingly pushed her away from him. She said sorry for that. That night, the ginkgo tree dropped a leaf, causing David and Kate to go back to their own bodies. In the morning, they woke up in their own bodies. They felt so relieved and happy that they were back in their own skin. And on top of that, this whole experience really helped bring back the warm bond between father and daughter. As time went on, the director gave the green light to sell cheaper products, and it was a hit in the market. David went back to work, and that morning was special because Kate joined her dad on the way to the office.